Dale McCamish, Senior Minister at Wilmington Church of Christ, and I'm here with our Youth Minister, Tony Brackemyre, and our Children's Minister, Cheryl Brackemyre. And we're doing interviews with staff and elders just to help people know who we are and be a little bit engaged. Maybe you might have some questions that you can email us later after the interview. But we're going to start today with Cheryl and Tony. Neither one of you are originally from Wilmington. So where'd you grow up? Where was your first ministry? And how did you get here? That's a lot of questions, I know, but let's just start with where are you from originally?
Well, I'm originally from Indiana, so I'm like the only IU fan in the Buckeye State. So I grew up in Indiana. My first ministry actually was in Defiance, Ohio. So I was there, went to Defiance, and then Kentucky, went back to the promised land of Indiana, and then had the opportunity to come to Wilmington about 20 years ago.
And I grew up in Centerville, Ohio, and still have family there. My first ministry was at my home church in Waynesville, Crossview Christian Church, and I was on staff there for 22 years before I came here.
So you've been here almost 20 years, and you've been here how long now?
5
years. Mm-hmm. So congratulations, because a lot of times ministry is like 1.5, 3 years max. So both of you are in for long-term ministry. What's been one of your driving factors for wanting to be long-term in ministry? It's like, why did you have that? Because apparently you had a goal to do that. So what was one of the driving factors to get there?
I know a lot of people say that long-term ministry is the best just because you develop relationships. I know for me, as my kids were growing up, I wanted them to have a home church and a place that was theirs, and that's what the Wilmington Church of Christ was for my big kids and on our family. And so we just felt like for us this was home, and so that's kind of how we just kind of stuck around.
That's good too. Did you have any goals when you started to be long-term ministry?
When I started right out of Bible college, I knew that this is what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. So when the opportunity came to come to Wilmington, and that seemed like a good fit for our family, we just carried on the ministry from Waynesville to Wilmington. Fantastic.
And you mentioned your big kids and your family, and you mentioned an opportunity to have your family here. Some people don't realize that Cheryl and Tony are a blended family. Can you tell us a little bit about how that's navigated the church world being a blended family? So tell us a little bit about your blended family first. You got big kids and little kids.
Yeah, so we have 4 big kids. 3 are married and out of college, got jobs, and the last big one is going to graduate this year or in 21, and then he's going to get married. So we'll have 4 big kids and 4 in-laws. I don't know how you say that. So we have that, and then we've adopted, and so we have Max, who is almost 7, and then Eli, who just turned 3.
And you adopted both of them from birth.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. So from blended family church background, have you had any pushback in the church from being a blended family, or have you had what are some of the great things that have happened because you've been connected to a church?
I think when we first got married, we attended 2 different churches because we were both working at 2 different churches. And that was just what we thought was going to be our normal. And then I think there were some stresses not being at the same church, not having the same friends, that type of thing. So when I came to Wilmington and joined it, I feel like everyone was very accepting, and it just made our family be cohesive, all worshiping at the same place.
Yeah, and I think the benefit too has been that, like I knew a lot of her families and friends and relationships at the church she was at, but it's been really neat from the standpoint that we have shared friends and that we know the same people, and the fact that we're a blended family, the fact that we've adopted has opened a lot of doors to conversations about that, especially for her, she's talking with a lot of either single moms who find themselves in a situation where they have to make a decision about what they're going to do with being pregnant. And so she's able to talk about our story of adoption. And then, of course, there's a number of blended families that come to our church. And so it's just been a good opportunity just for discussion and conversation, and saying that while this wasn't the plan at the very beginning, that God brings good things out of it, and we can grow through that. So I think that's been an added benefit.
Excellent. And when you all talk about being connected to relationships at church, I know you are making sure that your family's putting down roots where you attend, and that's one of your goals, to help families get connected, stay engaged. And you're both doing that right now online because of the pandemic. So tell me a little bit about Where's Miss Cheryl, which is how you're trying to keep our kids engaged, and tell me a little bit about how you're keeping the youth engaged online. So let's start with Where's Miss Cheryl.
Okay. So I decided to do a Where in the World is Miss Cheryl, and that was just to get people to engage, and it's worked. We've had a lot of people comment and make guesses, and we've sent out prizes for people who've won. And I wanted to do two things. I wanted to engage people, but I also wanted people to know places in our town that need prayer and need help. Mm-hmm. And so all of the places that I visit, I link with things that we can do, and we can pray for those areas in our community. So it's kind of twofold, to have something for the kids to look for and guess, and then also how we as a church and as families can reach out to our community.
I think it's been fantastic, but I have noticed that adults are guessing when it should be the kids.
That's
that
okay.
Are guessing.
That's okay. That's okay.
How are you keeping our youth involved?
That's kind of been ever evolving. I think when we first started the pandemic, everybody went online. I mean, school was online, everything was online. And the freshness of that wore off really quickly. People got tired of being on Zoom and that kind of thing. So use social media pretty regularly, because our students are on Instagram. I found we've had some good conversations even on Snapchat. A lot of our kids are in a Snapchat group. So when they made the decision to close school and to cancel things, we had a lot of especially our seniors, who felt like, oh, I lost so much. And so they would share within that. So social media has been good. We've also done a few outdoor social distancing type events. And you can tell that just like adults, that students are hungry for relationships and being face to face. So we've been trying to navigate that of being responsible, but also having people together. So it's kind of been just an ever-changing thing. What worked for a while, people get tired of, and so do different things. And I found one thing that's been really engaging. The YouVersion Bible app has reading plans, and then you can do a plan where you invite friends together and they can comment, and so then there's engagement. Oh, this is what stood out to me, and so it's been really neat to see on different social media platforms how students have interacted with each other and with our leaders.
Good. Thank you, both of you, for continuing to make disciples out of our children and our youth, and just trying hundreds and hundreds of different things to try to keep our students and their families engaged. If you have any questions that you want to send Cheryl and Tony on how you can keep your child engaged or continue to raise them up in the way they should go, you can check out, you can email us with the information. You can email us to the account that's written below. You can use the Connect card. You can text Connect to 937-382-0904, and we'll help you take your next best step. If you have any questions for me or for Cheryl or Tony, you can also email that in, and we'll try to answer as quickly as possible. And appreciate your time today.